Hello, and welcome to episode 3 of Behind the Mask. This episode is entitled, It's Supposed to Be Hard. Now, that's an odd title. What is supposed to be hard? Well, that's a good question. The thing I want to talk to you today about, the things that are supposed to be hard, are the lessons that our kids are supposed to be learning. I want to tell you that this is something that I find myself so guilty of almost every day. And I tell you, my kids are, they're 17, 15, 13, and 9. And I have a 17-year-old who I still make her lunch for her to go to school. Now, I had a good friend at school the other day, one of the teachers that I teach with, and she told me, she made some comment about, I guess you're going to have to get up really early to make Caitlin's lunch now, or maybe she should start making it herself. And it really got me thinking, no, yes, you're right. And she kind of laughed, and she just had a baby. And I just laugh in my head thinking, okay, we'll see where you're at in 17 years. And I'm going to come back and ask her if she's making her lunch for her. But this is something that I still struggle with. I still think to be a good mom and to show the world and to show my husband and to show the kids that I am the definition of the perfect mom, that I have to do everything for them. And I have to remind myself, this is the lesson. I have to remind myself, it's supposed to be hard. They're supposed to go through hard things. This is hard as a mom. You don't want your kid to struggle. You don't want them to have bad things happen to them. No, you don't want that. And I'm not saying have bad things happen to them, but they need to maybe go to school one day without their lunch made to learn that they need to get up earlier and make their lunch. Oh, this is bad. They're going to show up at school and they're going to have to go through the cafeteria line, and everybody's going to look at them and go, oh, what was your mom doing this morning? Why wasn't your mom making the lunch that you have every day? And you're automatically going to be judged right on the spot. Can you handle it? I don't know. Sometimes I can't. And so I'll go one day and I'll say, nope, tomorrow, guys, you're all making your own lunch. You're all big enough. You're 9, 13, 15, and 17. All of you are perfectly capable of going in there in that kitchen, looking in the pantry, seeing what we got, putting stuff in a lunchbox, and going to school. You don't need me to do it. And then, they're running late. Oh, Mom. And then I start thinking, oh, maybe I should do it because I don't want the other, the teachers that are watching them eat and, the cafeteria ladies. I work at this school. I don't want all of them thinking, oh, what's wrong with Lisa? Why can't she do these things? What has she been doing? What kind of stuff does she do at her house? What kind of mother is she? But I promise, it's supposed to be hard. How did we get to where we are? How did I get to where I am now? I went through some hard things. I went through some hard times. I had lessons that I had to learn. And if my mom walked me through every single step of the way, I would not be where I am today. Parenting is a hard thing to do. And there's a fine line. And I have people ask me a lot of times, how did you get such awesome kids? How did they get to where they are now? And I had somebody just recently ask me this. My middle daughter plays basketball in high school, and their basketball, or the athletic department, girls athletic department, has a fireworks stand, and all of the parents had to volunteer, and the girls had to volunteer to work the fireworks stand because that was how we were going to make money for the year. And so we had lots of time, or we just kind of sat. The last week of June, not a lot of people are really buying their fireworks yet, so it wasn't really busy. So we had a lot of time just sitting there. And I had one of the younger ladies, she's a young coach, I could be her mother, but she's a coach, asked me how, because she also coached my older daughter, how do you have such good kids? What's the secret? We're sitting here. What's the secret? There's nothing else to do. There's another coach sitting there. It's like, okay, this is a good question. I got to get in on this. And I thought, oh, this is a lot of pressure and a fireworks stand. How deep do I want to get here? And this was something that I told them. I said, well, it's supposed to be hard. They have to go through some hard things. They have to learn lessons. I said, but the main thing I think is to beat them when they're little and to be real free when they get big. And they just looked at me. And I go, now, don't get me wrong. I didn't really mean beat them. But I said I was strict with my kids when they were little. We knew how to behave in public. We knew how to use our manners. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Please. Thank you. Even just using our manners sitting at the dinner table. How to eat politely. How to wipe our mouths with a napkin. I was very strict. And I said it's very important when they're small to be very, very strict. I go, but now as teenagers, we're very open and very free. My older daughter does not have a curfew. We've never given her a curfew. And this is something that's probably going to be a little debatable, but she doesn't have a curfew. And there's a couple of reasons why, and this was something I told her. I said, no, I was very hard on her as a little girl, and she knew how to behave. I said, I remember when we would get ready, I said, just like when I'd put that mean lipstick on, before we'd go into church. I said, I would turn around and look at them before we went anywhere. We'd pull up into the Walmart parking lot, and I'd turn around and I'd look at them and I'd say, you listen here. You better be on your best behavior in that store. You're going to all put your hands on this basket, and you're not going to take your hands off this basket. Don't even think about taking your hands off this basket. And if you do, things are going to happen, and you were not going to ask me for anything. I'm going to buy my groceries, and I'm going to get in the car, and we're going to leave. And do not ask me for one thing. It's very strict. And then usually they did exactly what they were supposed to do, and I'd let them get a little treat. And so they always knew that they weren't going to say anything. They might get something. I go, but now, they're older. It's different. You've got to change. I said, you can't be that way anymore. I said, take my oldest, for example. She doesn't have a curfew. And these coaches just kind of looked at me, and I go, yeah, she doesn't have a curfew. She goes out where she's going to go with her friends or go where she's going to go. And, I don't tell her what time to be home. And they were very shocked at that. And so I'm going to tell you why. When my parents gave me a curfew when I was a teenager, I tried my hardest to see how close I could get to that line without going over. I tried to see how far going over was too far over. If my curfew was midnight, could I come in at 12:05? Is that too late? Could I push it to 12:08? It's not 10 minutes. It might as well be 5. That's not too bad. And that was my goal. I was just constantly pushing. Well, where were you? Well, I was just out doing, it was keeping things from them, very secretive. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to try the opposite. Something's got to work, right? I did everything I could and snuck around and did all kinds of crazy things and stayed out as late as possible, even later. And it was just torturous. I kept secrets from them. We argued. I snuck in, snuck out. It was just a constant battle. And I have really good teenagers. They tell me where they're going, what's going to happen, who's there. I trust that they're going to make good decisions. And if they don't, it's supposed to be hard. They're supposed to make bad choices. They're supposed to get in trouble. And I'm going to come help them out. But I tell you what, I told her, I said, but if you are strict with them when they're little, they know how to behave when they go out there. I said, I have every confidence in the world that I have scared them to pieces when they were little kids. No, that they know how to make good choices. And I really feel like we have an open line of communication that with my teenagers, and they can come in and tell me, this is where I want to go, this is what I want to do. And we talk about, well, who's going to be there? Okay, well, are there going to be people drinking there? Okay, well, how do you feel about that? Well, I don't think kids should drink. Okay, well, do you want to be there while they're doing it? Well, yeah, I think I can be there, but I'm not going to do it. Okay, that sounds good. Go on out and have fun. You know, we have these open communications with each other. We talk to these things with our oldest, you know, when she comes home. Well, was there drinking there? Yeah, there was. Did you? No, I didn't. Did you want to? No, not really. You know, we have these open dialogues. Because I know that was not the case when I was a teenager. Everything was very secretive. There were so many rules, so many limits. You can only be here. You can only do this. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. And I did everything in my power to do all those things that they told me not to do. Now I understand it's supposed to be hard. They're supposed to make mistakes. They're supposed to go through things. I have to allow them to go and do it. I have to allow KK to go out there, go do what she's going to do, and mess up. And as much as I hate it, and as much as we hate to see anything bad happen to them, we want to keep them in this bubble and just hope and pray that nothing ever bad happens. It's got to. It's supposed to be. She has to learn. I mean, it would be weird, and I always use this analogy when I tell these stories to the kids too, and I said, it would be weird if KK now at 17 is still wearing a diaper. You know, she had to learn to go to the potty. She had to learn to use the restroom. She's got to still learn lessons. They're different kinds of lessons. They're not little 18-month-old KK lessons anymore. You know, now they're 17-year-old lessons that she's got to learn. She's got to go through those things. And me holding her back and keeping her from learning those things is only going to stunt her growth. If I didn't allow her to potty train and I kept her in those diapers, it would be weird. You would all think, oh my gosh, this is weird. Why is she doing that? And you would all look at me and think I was weird. It's the same thing. If I don't allow her to go out there, make mistakes, make some bad choices that she thinks are going to be good, but that's what's going to happen. If she can't go out there and do it and find things that are hard, it would be weird. Because now when she finally gets to be an adult and she goes out there on her own, she fails and she can't do it. And she comes back home and she says, Mom, I can't do it. I have to move back in with you guys. I have no money. I have no job. And she wants to come back. No. It's supposed to be hard now. We have to make those hard choices. We've got to learn some hard lessons so that when it's time for her to leave the nest and go out there and be a grown-up and make those, she can do it. And that she's confident in doing it. That's the thing, too, is that I want her to be confident. Yeah, she's going to make some bad choices here, and I'm going to help her out, and we're going to be open, and we're going to be honest about it, and we're going to build her up and do whatever we can to help her out so that she's confident now when she leaves the nest, so that she's not worried. I don't want to produce any kind of worry or fear in her for when she leaves here and she thinks that she can't do it. So, it's supposed to be hard. And this is something I'm going to remind myself. I tell Kagan this a lot too, because he's at this age. He's 13 and he's the only boy. And I have done a lot of things for him in his life because he is the only boy. And, you know, I haven't got much into this, but he does have a terminal disease. It's called cystic fibrosis. And so we've spent a lot of time in and out of the hospitals with Kagan. and in doctor's offices constantly, and he's got lots of medicines and lots of treatments and lots of things that we do, and I wait on him hand and foot.